The Secret of the Foggy Forest. Our story of disappearance takes place in the small mountain town of Kirli. Kirli was a quiet and peaceful place, surrounded by an ancient forest, known to the locals as the Whisperers, shrouded in dense fog for most of the year. The hero of the story was Atlas, an 18-year-old curious nature photographer. According to legend, Atlas was searching for a rare flower that blooms only once every 10 years in the deepest part of the forest, where the fog never lifts, the moonlight lily. The day of the disappearance. On the morning of October 12th, the air was bitter and cold. Atlas entered the Whisperers with a backpack full of water, a few energy bars, his camera, and an old compass from his father. The townspeople warned him, "When the fog thickens, the trees begin to change their path. Don't stray from the path, Atlas." At first, everything was fine. Atlas followed the trail, savoring the forest's damp, mossy atmosphere. A few hours later, the fog rolled in earlier and thicker than expected. Visibility had dropped to a few meters. Atlas managed to capture a few good shots with his camera, but when he looked at his compass, he noticed something strange. The needle was constantly trembling and wouldn't settle in any direction. He began to panic. The trail had vanished. The surrounding trees stood like enormous, threatening shadows behind a thick veil of fog. The silence around him muffled even the sound of his own heartbeat. Strange tracks and whispers. He continued walking, but no matter how far he walked, he felt like he was returning to the same place. Suddenly, he saw strange, long, narrow footprints on the ground not unlike human feet, but not claws either. The prints appeared in the fog and ended after a few steps, as if the air had vanished. Just then, he heard a low, incomprehensible sound carried by the wind. Whether it was a click on the trees, bark, or a murmured whisper in human language, he couldn't tell. Atlas, Atlas. His name echoed like a weary echo from the depths of the forest. He began to run, terrified. As he ran, the ground shifted beneath his feet. Suddenly, he realized that instead of soft forest soil, it was an old path paved with smooth, polished stones. The path had a structure that couldn't have been found in a modern forest. The path ended at a stone archway, dimly lit in the mist, moonlightly. Atlas was torn between terror and wonder. In a moment of courage, he passed under the archway. On the other side, the fog suddenly thinned. Atlas stood in a small clearing surrounded by rivers, at the center of which stood an ancient, ruined monument. On the stone steps of the monument stood the flower he had been searching for, the moonlight lily. Its blue-white petals gleamed in the dim light, emitting a faint, melancholy scent. Atlas reached out a trembling hand and clicked the camera's shutter. A perfect shot,